Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Testing Mini Bytes. I am your friend Amudan Shaktivel. Today we will see one of the important topics in TestNG, which is called as listeners, right? So we will also see how we can use the listeners in our framework. So I'm not gonna cover listeners in detail, but whatever we need for implementing in the framework that we will cover. Okay, maybe I'll create a separate playlist for TestNG later. But for now, I think these are all the main listeners that being used by that we can use in TestNG for our Selenium automation framework. So I'll try to cover these. So without wasting much time, we'll see the agenda for today's video. So one is first we'll try to understand what is listener and other stuff. Then also see what is ITestListener, what is ISuiteListener, or people normally we need to pronounce it like ISuiteListener. And then we have IMethodInterceptor. We have one more listener, IRetryListener. And then we'll also have IAnnotationTransformer. Again, there are other listeners as well, but predominantly these are all the main listeners in TestNG, and we'll see what is the use of these listeners, right? How we can use this in our Selenium framework. We'll get an idea, but we are not going to implement in our framework now, but we will do that in the next video. For now, we'll understand what will be the use and why we need to use these listeners. Again, we'll also see whether we can rerun our failed tests, right? So normally when we develop a framework, we'll also develop a capability to rerun the failed tests. I will see whether it is as a good practice or it is not a good practice. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's get into the video. So let me go to the workspace, what I had. And for simplicity reasons, I have already created two classes. Okay, so if you notice, I have two classes. One is runner.java and another one is listeners class.java. So this listeners class is what, implementing my I test listener and I suite listener. And this runner class is just having a very simple, three test cases, just having three sysout statements, test one, test two, and test three. uh, to hold everything in a single page without scrolling up and down. I just wrapped them all in one line. Instead of writing like this, I just wrapped them together so that we can see everything in one line. Good. So we have before suite, we have after suite, we have before method and after method along with three tests. Again, if you are aware of what does this do, this before and after method will be called before method will be called before each of these tests. So before running this test one, it will print a method before method in runner. So even this after method will be called every time after your test, but this before suite and after suite will be executed only once based on your number of suite. So suppose there are three tests and there is only one suite at the total, so this will be executed at first, this will be executed at last. Again, we also have something called as listener class, right? So what I have done here, so I have created a just class, and then I just typed implements ITestListener and ISuiteListener. What TestNG has built, they have done a lot of hard work in building these kind of listeners and giving us the option to override the unimplemented methods. Again, if you know what is a listen interface, it has a lot of unimplemented methods, right? So once you, let me cut it anyway. If you just add it like this, you will get an error like this. Okay, what you need to do, you just need to tell add unimplemented methods. Okay, so just implement all the methods and provide your own implementation. That's what I have done. I have provided my own implementation. If you notice, there is a on start on finish method, right? uh, if you are getting confused whether it's coming from your ITestListener or ISuiteListener, okay, then you can look at the parameter for the method. It's telling ISuite, which means it's similar to your before suite. So on start indicates this particular method will be executed before running your suite. So this is almost similar to your before suite annotation. Okay, the same way this after suite is similar to this on finish method in the listener. So you can provide your own implementation. If you notice, I have just mentioned before suite in listener. Here I have mentioned before suite in runner. Okay, to differentiate. In the same way, this on test start, okay, is accepting I test result parameter as a argument for this particular method, right? So what this method will do, it's almost similar to your before method. Okay, it's almost similar to this. Okay, but there is no after method directly. Okay, you have different options for a method. Okay, either the test method can pass, it can fail, or it can get skipped, or there is an option whether it can failed with some success percentage. Again, we are not going to use this particular option, so that's why we have only three. So the after method in your runner class is now here as three different methods. Okay, if your test is passed, this will be called. That's why I have mentioned after method in listener pass. This is after method in listener. When there is a fail, then I am attaching screenshots here, something like this. Okay, in your test, when your test gets skipped, this will be called. Again, will not be using this, so I'm leaving this for empty. Okay, again, this on start and on finish is accepting ITest context. If you don't know what is this, if I open my TestNG.xml, there is a sweet tag. Okay, there is a, the test tag. This is the test tag. So this on test start and not on finish, okay, these two methods will be executed before running this particular test. Again, I can have multiple tests. Okay, you can have multiple tests like this. So this will be executed each time your test in tag in the suit is getting executed. So again, we will not be using that. So in our framework, so I have kept it empty. Again, you can do whatever the operation you want to do. So what we trying to understand here, okay, when there is already something like this before suite, okay, then why I need to go and use something called as on start in my listener. Okay, imagine you have a case where you want to read some data from your DB, or you want to read some you want to initialize your external reports or your earlier reports, all of the stuff. Okay, then what you need normally do, people normally use their before suite itself. Okay, and then they will do all the stuff here. Okay, they can write code like imagine you need make DB connection. Okay, make DB connection. Okay, they can do here, and then init your reports. Yeah, maybe external reports. Okay, anyway, we are going to use external reports, so they can write like this. Okay, external, sorry guys, external reports. Okay, so they can do all these things in the after suit. They can close the connection and they can flush their reports. But the problem is your tests and your DB connection are tightly coupled now. I mean, this is the problem, right? I already told your test class needs to be free from all of the stuff, right? So it has to speak more about the test instead of all of the stuff. That's the reason why we created page layer in our framework. Again, if you're directly watching this, make sure you watch the previous tutorial in the Selenium Framework playlist to understand what I'm speaking here, right? So to decouple it, okay, I don't want them to tightly coupled with my test, because if there is some change, I don't want to make a DB connection. Okay, I want to get the data from a different vendor. Use the data is coming in a JSON format. Okay, I want to do different things, so I don't have to go and alter my test case. Instead, I can keep all this stuff in this listener, so then I can customize the listener based on my requirements. Okay, so that's the reason we're going to use this. Let me run the test. Okay, if I try to run the test here, okay, it will not understand that there is a listener that will listen to this. Okay, the name is telling listener, right? So it will listen to all your events. So if you notice, there is no none of the statements in the listener class is getting executed, because this test doesn't know that there is a listener listening to it. You need to let it know. So what I have done in, again, you can add as an annotation in the top of class file, but that is not a good approach. So what we do, we created a new tag called listeners. Okay, and then we have mentioned the class name for the listener. Okay, since my class name is listener class and available in the package com.listeners, I have mentioned the complete name of the class, so that it can understand there is now a new listener here which will going to listen to my events. If you notice, I am trying to run the runner class, which is having three test classes or three test cases. Okay, let me try to run as a test engine test now, and then see the difference. Okay, this time it should definitely you know uh, print all the things. So if you notice, before suite in listener, before suite in runner, then the before method in runner, then the before method in listener, test one, then after method, and everything is working fine. Again, your list before suite listener is executed first, but if you take at the method level, your before method in runner is executed first. This is again implementation with TestNG. We cannot do all these things, but just understand whatever the operation we can do with before suite tag, we can do the same thing with the help of this listener. Okay, that's the ultimate goal what I want to convey with this regards. Okay, so this is done. Now I have seen about one listener. Okay, now you have mentioned a lot of other listeners. How can I use all of them? What is the use of those? Okay, again, we will see what is the exact use when we implement in the framework. Okay, now I'll create a one more listener class. Okay, let me name it as a method interceptor. Okay, method interceptor. Okay, this is a new class that I'm going to create, which is going to implement, okay, another interface that is called as IMethodInterceptor. Okay, IMethodInterceptor. Okay, now this is having an abstract method. Again, I'm going to implement that. This is having only one abstract method, so my job is very easy. So what this intercept method will do, so it is asking you to return list of I method instance. Okay, I do not understand what is this. I have seen string, I can see integer, but it's asking me list of what is this I method instance. Okay, so let's understand. So I method instance is like all the so this list, okay, this list will contain all the test that TestNG going to execute. Okay, it'll execute in a sequence present, because list will be maintaining an insertion order, right? So it will have all the test cases in sequence. Suppose in our case it will be test 1, test 2, okay, test 3. Okay, so this is what is expecting. Please give me a list of I method instance which I want to execute. Okay, and then if you look at the arguments to this method, it is also having list of I method instance methods, which means this method is actually having test 1, test 2, and test 3. Suppose I want to dynamically change, okay, at the runtime I want to disable some test case, I don't want to execute some test case. Okay, how can I do that? Okay, directly you can do methods dot, okay, remove, okay, and other stuff. But the thing is you are mutating the existing list, so I don't want to corrupt that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new list, okay, which is going to hold I method instance. Okay, let me name it as result for now, new array list. Okay, so let it be an array list. Okay, she accepts I method instance, that's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do, I'm the result, I'm going to add just to only one method. Okay, I'm going to add the first method. Okay, suppose this method is having three tests, right? So what I'm going to do, this is a list method start get, I'm just adding the first element from there. I'm not interested in any of those other things. Okay, and then I'm returning the result. So if you notice what I have done, so I have done, there is a list of I method instance which is having all the test cases that the test going to execute. In our case, it has three test cases that it will execute. Okay, if you directly, okay, if you don't want to do any alteration, if you want to execute all of them, you can directly return that. Again, if you are going to directly return that, why we need to implement this interface? So I want to customize at the runtime that I want to disable some test case, I don't want to execute some test case, but I can only get that at the runtime, then you can use this. Okay, so what I have done, I have actually added just to only one. So I have just added the first instance, okay, to this result, and then I'm returning this particular list of I method instance. So what will happen, it will only execute test 1. Okay, it will not execute test 2 1 test 3. Again, this is a listener, right? How will I let compiler know that this is a listener, I want to use this? Okay, let me go to the testng.xml, and instead of com.listeners.listener class, I need to add method interceptor, which means uh, you will ask a question whether I cannot use two listeners. Yes, you can use, but for now our case, we just want to only understand how method interceptor works. So just I am replacing it. Otherwise you can just add another line and then add another listener like this. Okay, it will work absolutely fine. Okay, there's no issues. But for now we are just trying to understand everything step by step. Okay, so the ultimate goal, what it going to do is, we're going to, at the runtime, we're going to disable some test case. Okay, let's try to understand by running the test now. Okay, again, you need to be very careful with the spelling. If you are typed something wrong, it will not work. Again, guys, if you notice, the test one is alone getting executed. Even in my TestNG suite, if you notice, the test one is alone executed. The other two didn't execute it because at the runtime we have customized this. Okay, now you're asking me another question. Okay, you are operating it based on the index. Suppose if I have 100 test cases, if you do like this is not a good approach. Okay, I cannot find where my, since you have just three test cases, you have just operated with the help of index, but this is not will work in real time. Yeah, I know that. So in real time, what we will do, we'll have an Excel sheet like this. Okay, this Excel sheet is having the same test name. Okay, the test 1, test 2, test 3 should match with your, okay, should match with your um, the runner class, you have three tests, right? It should match with your test 1, test 2, and test 3. Once this is matched, you can also set the description at the runtime. You can set the description for the test case at the runtime. Okay, when I mean what I mean by that, okay, instead of going and adding a description like this, description equal to, okay, test case 1, this I am doing before executing my test, but I want my description to be updated at the runtime. The same way, I can control any of these parameters. Suppose this enabled equal to false, if I pass this annotation, the test will not be run. Okay, so you can customize any of these suppose I want to change the priority, okay, you can do that, okay, at the runtime. So that's what we're going to see. So if you have a test method like this, the only condition is you need to have the same test name like your uh, Excel sheet. Again, here I have an option whether to execute or not. Suppose if I want to execute test 1, just mark yes here. Okay, if I don't want to execute, then I mark no here. Okay, so now assume I'm not going to read it from the Excel sheet. Now assume that I have already read this whole thing. Okay, suppose I have enabled these two, and then I have read this whole data and then stored in a very good collection. Okay, so how can I store this? I'm gonna not read it from Excel sheet because it will be too much of ask for me. So for simple reasons, so just what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a map, okay, which can store the test case details. Okay, map of maybe test 1 equal to new hash map. Okay, let it, okay, this is the hash map. Okay, import the packages. Then what I'm doing in the test 1, okay, I'm going to store all these details. Okay, so the for the test 1, the name is this. Okay, again, I'm not interested in this. Again, you can even remove this. Okay, just for a demo purpose, right? So I'm going to hold everything like this: invocation count, priority, all those stuff I'm just storing in the map. Okay, how I'm going to store? So put is the method you can use. So first the test name. Okay, name is the key and the value is just one. For now I'm hard coding, but you can read that at the runtime from the Excel sheet and update this particular map. Okay, test one dot put, I also want to change the invocation count. Okay, let me restrict myself to just two values so that it will be much easy for me. So for now I'm just having it as a string so that be a little easy. I can convert this to integer later. Suppose I also have one more map, okay, that's having the details about test 2. Just a minute, guys. Okay, okay, now it's much more readable. So this having test details about test 2. Okay, and the test 2 I want to run it with two times. Okay, and most importantly I don't want to execute the test 3. Okay, now then what I can do, I can just store this whole map in a list. Okay, string. This how you will get the final result, right? String of string. Again, you can name it as result. Okay, or you can just put it list, new array list, new array list. Okay, list dot add. I'm just adding my first test 1. Okay, and then I'm adding my second details about my second test case, so that is test 2. Good. So again, guys, let me quickly walk through what I have done. Assume that I have read all these values. Assume I have read all these values and effectively stored in a collection of list, which is holding a map of string comma string. Okay, which means in each of the index in the list, I have a map. Okay, in each map, I have details about this particular test case. So it will tell name test 1, count 5, how many times I want to run. Name was test 2, count. Again, you can add more properties if you want to add. For simple reasons, I'm just restricting myself to add just two elements and two parameters. Good. Now this this methods, right, it's return me all the three things. Now I want to extract that method name from this, and then I want to compare it with this. If both these two are matching, then I want to add, add it to the result so that I can return it. Okay, so assume if this is only yes, okay, if the execute is only yes, so that I have only picked up these two test case. This is no, that's why I didn't picked up. Okay, so let's write a for loop. Again, I want to iterate using two for loops because so I less than methods dot size. So this is a list of methods, a list of test methods that it give. So and then for int j equal to 0, j less than, and second, this is a list of test cases that we have with us. Okay, list dot size. Okay, and then j plus plus. Okay, now I am iterating these two when there is a match. Okay, so how will I convert this? So when if methods dot get, I'm just getting the I. Okay, then get method dot get method name. Okay, I'm getting the method name, so it will actually return me test1. Okay, test1. Okay, if that is equals ignore case, if it is matching with, if it is matching with list dot get of j. Okay, dot, see, get of j will only return me a map. I want to get the value of name from it. Okay, I'm getting the name value. Okay, if both are matching, okay, what I want to do, I want to methods dot, yeah, this whole thing get. Okay, I want to get the method, and then I can set the priority, guys. So dot get method dot. So if you notice that if I type set, okay, I can set the type, I can set the description. Okay, you can do a lot of things, the invocation count and everything. These are all the parameters to your test method. If you notice, can go here and then type D. Okay, it will providing me data provider depends on group description, enabled everything. The same options, whatever you are doing at the you know compile time, you can do at the runtime. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm just having an invocation count, so I want to set the invocation count. Since this accepts an integer and we have the value in string, I'm just passing it back to integer. That's it. Once I set this, I just want to add this result, that add. Okay, because this is the final result that we want to return. Okay, once you return this, whatever the I method instance, whatever the test case that you have added here, that will be ran at the runtime. So you don't forget to add this step. Okay, what I want to add, method dot methods dot get I. I want to add this. Okay, so once the okay, this is string, right? So what is the value? How can I get the value? List dot get j dot get count. Again, guys, you must be aware of how to get a value from a hash map to understand this. Again, what I have done. So our ultimate aim is to at runtime disable few tests. Okay, this is what our ultimate goal. That's why we are using this listener. This listener tell, okay, I will give you whatever the methods that I'm going to execute. You customize. You, if you want to add more methods, you add more methods to it. If you want to remove some methods, remove some methods, but at the end, give me the list of those methods that I want to execute. So what I have done, I have three test cases to run. Now I have two test cases detailed in stored in a form of map, and then I stored everything in a form of lists. So this is the proper way of storing all the details, right? Then I'm just checking if whatever the test case name they have given here is actually matching with your runner, whatever the test method runner, this particular thing. Then if two are matching, okay, what I'm doing, I'm just setting the the invocation count, and then adding that to the result, and then returning this result of list of I method instance variable. Once I do this, now everything should work fine. So now I'm expecting only the test one and test two to work. Okay, other things should not work. That's what my expectations. Let's see what's happening. Okay, good. Let's see the results here. If you notice, the test one is executed 5 times, just because, okay, we have mentioned test one to execute 5 times. So So we are at the runtime customizing the invocation count. Okay, that's also we did. And also if you notice, the test one is ran two times because we have told to run two times. Test one and test two only got executed because we are only adding that. Okay, we didn't added the test three voluntarily, so test three didn't add. Okay, suppose we want to change, suppose this is the details about test three, then it will be executed. Okay, so I hope you all got an idea how we can, at the runtime decide what test we want to run and what test we don't want to run. This is very important because we're going to use this concept. We'll be reading the values from this and then storing in the same way list of map, and then we'll operate. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please leave your comments in the YouTube section, guys. Again, if you find my videos a little slow, please change the playback settings to 1.5 or 2 so that you don't feel any slowness. And since we understood about method interceptor, there is another listener called as annotation transformer, which are all going to do the same thing. Okay, so let me create and then implements I annotation transformer. Okay, once I implement this, it will also have some abstract method. Okay, here if you notice, it is not asking me to return something. Okay, it is a void type. So what it is telling, whatever you do, you just do it here. Okay, if you want to customize something, you customize it here itself. Okay, you don't have to return me anything. Okay, it also giving me method of test method. This method interceptor class will be executed only once for your entire suite, but this particular annotation transformer, this transform method will be called each time your test method is called. So it's going to return me, see, previously it returned a list, right? Now this time it's returning only one method name. So if I just type if test method, okay, dot get name, this will actually give me the name of the test method that it's going to execute now. Okay, before calling that method, it will come and call this. So what I can do, if it is equals ignore case, okay, if it is equals ignore case test1, I don't want to execute that. So I can do that as well here. Okay, so how can I change that? So if you notice, there is something called as annotation. Okay, you can customize the annotation, right? In the test method, we have the annotation here. Okay, you can customize enabled equal to false. I hope you all know what is this enabled equal to false. If you put this, the test will not be ran. The same thing we are going to do at runtime. Okay, here annotation dot set enabled parameter to false. Okay, so I'm just hard coding like test one, but the concept remains the same. You read it from your Excel sheet, you store it in some kind of a collection like this. You iterate, you check for the matching, and then you set the enabled parameter to false. Again, it's not only mean that you can only set the enabled parameter, you can also set other stuffs as well. So you get entire control at the runtime. So data provider, if you want to choose data provider methods, depends on groups. If you want to do any of the uh, parameters available in the annotation, you can customize all of them. Okay, so for simple reasons, I'm not doing anything in this. Okay, just understand whether it is working fine or not. So to do that, I'm not worrying about method interceptor. We already saw about that. So annotation transformer, I hope. Okay, if you make any spelling mistake, it won't work. So I hope the concept remained the same, guys. So it still worked. If you notice, test 2 and test 3 got executed, the others didn't execute it. So that's the power. Again, you can use the same concept. Okay, maybe I'll quickly cover that. It will not take much time. So if you notice, I just need this. Okay, I'll I'll go here. Okay, instead of doing this. Okay, this is my test one. Okay, this is my test two. Everything is working fine. So what I want to do, okay, at the runtime I want to find, again, this is a test method only, right? So there is only one for loop, which is our list. Okay, for int I equal 0, uh, I less than your list dot size. Okay, I want to check, then I plus plus. Okay, I do this, you have your test method. Okay, if test method dot get name is actually when it is equals to your list dot get of index dot sketch the name. If there is a match between these two, I want to do something. Okay, again, suppose consider I have one more. There is something called as enabled. When this enabled is false, okay, I will change this to object array because I want to use a boolean here. Okay, so if this enabled is false, I want to make it as a false. Okay, the same way I am updating it for the result 2. The test 2, if it is true, here it is true. Okay, it's showing some error because I'm trying to store an object here. So string object array. Okay, it's now still showing error. Cast one argument to string. Okay, since this is written in me object, so it's asking me to change it to string. Again, to convert to string, not a value of, and then you can convert this to string. Okay, that's not a problem. So now I have casted it back to string. I have done the comparison. If these two are matching, then I want to do two things. Okay, but before doing all these things, I want to check the enabled parameter. Okay, the same thing, list dot get I. Again guys, if you don't understand any of this, it's okay, just follow the thing. I will anyway teach this again when I implement them in the frameworks. Okay, so don't worry about any of these things. Okay, I want to get the get the enabled value. So if this, okay, equals to false, okay, then I want to set something to false, which is my annotation dot set enabled, okay, to false, so that it won't run. Else, if it's not there, I just want to update these two things. Okay, invocation count. If you have anything else, you can do this here. Okay, same thing, annotation dot set. Okay, what I want to set, I want to set the invocation count. Okay, to integer dot parse int whatever the value that is there. So that will be list dot get I dot get count. Okay, again this is, okay, I'll add a cast into string. Okay, this is okay. Now with this, what I'm telling, when the enabled parameter is false, then disable it. So in this case, what it will do, it will only execute test 2, and we have not touched test 3. So obviously by default it has enabled as true, so it will be executed. Okay, but this time we only gonna see this count parameters updated to 2. Okay, let's try to run the test and check. Again guys, I think the video is a little long, but yeah, but we need to learn all these things because we are doing something wrong for the whole time. So if we implement this, it will save a lot of time. Okay, notice the test 2 is executed twice just because we have updated it here. Okay, and the test 1 didn't execute it because we have updated the enabled parameter to false. Okay, that's the reason. Okay, good. So we have done all these things. Okay, now there is one more listener that is available, that is retry listener. Again, we'll come to the discussion whether we want to use the retry concept in our framework, but for now first we'll understand how to do that. Okay, analyze, maybe I can just tell my custom retry method, uh, or I can simply tell retry. Okay, and let me implement, there is another interface. Okay, let me implement that as well. I retry analyzer. Okay, it also has a method. Okay, so I learned all these things from their official documentation, guys. So if you want to learn something, just inculcate the practice of going and seeing the documentation so that you can get all the details. Okay, so what this method tells, okay, whenever a test is failed, whenever a test is failed, this method retry will be called. If this method return false, okay, if it method return true, the failed method will be retried, will be rerun. Okay, rerun. Okay, if it is written true, okay, then it will be rerun. If it written false, it will not rerun. So that's why it already has default thing was false, so it will not retry. So if I change this to true, so it will execute continuously. It will not have any breaking statement. So every time when a test case fails, it come here, it'll say true, so it will retry again. The test will fail again, true again, retry. So this goes on in an endless loop. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So what you want to do, you want to build your own custom logic, how many times you want to retry. So in our case I'm gonna simply use some in count. Okay, counter, maybe some variable here. Okay, and then I'll also have a maximum limit, how many times you want to retry. For my case, I want to retry 2 times. Okay, then you can build your logic there. If counter is less than limit, okay, you return true, else simply return false. But here I need to update the counter so that my counter value gets increased, and there will be a case where this if condition does not satisfies, and then it goes to false statement. Good. Now we have implemented the logic, but how can I do this thing? Okay, I don't know how to implement this. Okay, how to implement this logic. There is different ways. One, you can go and if you want to get this control at the test level. Okay, this is very important test. Okay, if it is fail, I just want to retry this. Okay, retry. There is something called as retry analyzer. Okay, you can mention retry analyzer. What is a retry analyzer here? Okay, retry dot class. Okay, this is my retry analyzer. Okay, but if you don't want the control to be to a individual test class, and you want this to be applicable to all of this, okay, then there are multiple ways you can do this. If you are using annotation transformer or method interceptor, you can directly do it here. Okay, for all the methods that are enabled. Okay, because if it is false, it will be disabled. So for them, I don't have to set the data provider retry analyzer, right? For other things, okay, I can directly put it here, annotation dot set retry analyzer. Okay, to what of the class you want. So it's retry dot class. So for all the methods that I'm trying to execute, if there is a failure, try to adopt this strategy to retry the failed test. That's what we are telling. So I don't have to add this listener to the TestNG.xml. Okay, I just need to have it, the annotation transformer that is already there in my listeners. Okay, so it will do the job for us. But in our case, none of the tests are failing. So what I'm doing, I'm just voluntarily making a test to fail. Okay, hazard George, hazard true, and then I'm passing false. Okay, so let's see what's happening. Run as TestNG test. Again, if you're using retry analyzer, uh, it is little tricky. So if you notice, okay, anyway, our test one is didn't even run. So if we go here and then change this to test two, I can copy the statement and then put it in test two. Okay, let me also run the testng.xml. Again, guys, you need to always run the testng.xml. If you run your runner.java file, it does not know there is a listener. Okay, so don't run your runner file, run your testng.xml where we have configured the listeners. So that's something you need to keep in mind. So if suppose notice, if now there is a result here. So the test2 is actually ran for 4 times. Okay, actually 5 times, right? And then you have your test 3 that's actually passed. Okay, so first it tried to run these two tests. Okay, it got failed. Okay, it got failed, some found it expected true but found false, so it tried to retry. Okay, it has retried the times that we have mentioned, so 0, 1 and 2. So since you are coupling it with invocation count, this is causing some erratic results. So I would advise always not to use invocation count when you are using retry analyzer and your test case is failing. Okay, so this might give you some erratic results. So better not to combine these two things. Okay, for now I'm just commenting this, and then let me try to run the results. This time it should properly retry. So whenever you feel something that you don't know, you don't have enough materials available online, then you you can go and try yourself. Okay, that's how I learn most of the stuff. Okay, if you notice the test 2 has failed, and then it tried to retry again, also it failed, so it marked it as skip. Again guys, it is just a default definition. If a test is once failed, every time it retry, if it is failed, okay, then it will be marked as skip. Okay, now let's come to the main goal. Okay, whether we want to rerun or failed test. Again, what are the possibilities to retry a failed test? There are multiple ways. One is in your TestNG results folder. Okay, if I go to my TestNG results folder, um, okay, uh, just refresh your folder, okay, so that you get your refresh. Okay, this is mostly asked interview question, guys. So go to the test output folder. You have something called as failed, uh, testng failed.xml. Okay, if you right click, run as and testng suite, it has all the details about the failed test case. Okay, let's see how it's. Okay, it's not clear, so maybe I'll open with text editor. If you notice, it has what are the steps that it want to run. Suppose it has only tested 2 for now. Okay, so it has to retry only this particular test. Okay, so this understand what you want to retry, so it will construct a testing xml at the runtime so that you can directly come and retry. Okay, good. So this you can do. The second way is what we did using a retry analyzer, providing our own custom implementation. Okay, everything is fine, but let's come to the main question. Okay, why you want to do that? So if your test is failing, it's a good approach. Okay, uh, to fix the flakiness of your test. Even if you run your test 50 times, the test should run successfully 50 times. That's a good code. Okay, if your test is going to produce no such element, okay, some element interruptible exception, no, it should be avoided, right? So instead of retrying and making your test to pass, there is no purpose of running automation tests. The main goal is to find defects, right? Whether we do it manually or we use some test automation tools to find this. So the entire core concept is, I won't implement a retry analyzer in my framework that I'm going to implement. Maybe for say UT purpose, I may implement it in the framework because some people might need it, or their managers want it. But you need to tell your managers this is not going to be an effective thing. Instead, I'm gonna fix all the issues, okay, and then I'm gonna um, you know uh, have a very good robust test instead of a flaky one. Okay, I think I have covered listeners in detail. In our next tutorial, we will see how we can use and implement this listeners in our framework. Okay, until then, you all have a good day, guys. Please do subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. That's the least thing that I'm expecting from you. Thanks a lot for understanding and your patience. Thank you, guys.